Hello. It's day 25 of Vlogmas. Feliz Navidad, Merry Christmas, all of the good stuff. I hope everybody is having a good day, a good holiday if you celebrate. As you can see, I am celebrating. I am marking the day in my pajamas at my house. I got a little egg. No, this is not eggnog. This is rompope, which is a lot like eggnog, but I think far superior. It is a Mexican I was gonna say Christmas beverage, but really people be drinking rompope all year long. So hello everybody. We made it, y'all. 25 days. Um, it did go by fast, but also not fast enough. But it did go by a lot faster than I expected it to. Um, so I hope y'all are chilling. Okay. Uh Jackie's still in her PJs as well. Yeah, I thought about putting on some clothes and I was like, I really don't feel like it. So I'm not like this is supposed to be one of the perks of working from home is that you can wear what you want to work. So uh, that's what I'm doing. Hey, congratulations. All in the air on my way to the Bahamas. Like if you can't be at home in your pajamas, I think that's a pretty good option. I think it is. Okay. So, as our final day in this Vlogmas series where I have gone live every day since December 1st at 2 p.m. Eastern, we're going to talk about cost of living. What are my monthly expenses here? Yesterday, we did an Ask Me Anything, and the couple of days before that, we talked about what are my favorite and least favorite things about living here in Mexico City. If you are new to the channel, you may not know that I have lived in Mexico City since 2017, although there was a little hiatus when I spent 2 years in Asia. I am a permanent resident of Mexico and consider Mexico City my home. My name is Adelia Aborashade. I left the US 7 years ago, almost 8. And I this is my YouTube channel. I am a financial educator, a relocation consultant. I teach people about money and I help people move abroad. Um, yeah, that's what I do. And I talk about all of that on this YouTube channel. So I'm glad the algorithm fed this video to you, or maybe I'm not saying this about you, Janan, but maybe you're one of the people who saw the CNBC video or article and you were like, hey, let me check her out. Let me find out a little bit more about her. If that's how you ended up here, I am glad you are here. Welcome to the Picky Girl Nation. If you want to see more of my videos in your feed, be sure to subscribe. Make sure you turn on notifications. That way, when I upload a new video or the next time I go live, you should be the first to know. All right. Um, let's see. Cost of living. Okay, let's talk about that. Hold on. I got some slides. Okay. So if you were here back in August 22, this should look familiar to you. This is was a breakdown of what I spent in a month living here in Mexico City in August of 2022. My total for the month. Now this is just my Mexican expenses. I do have a couple of minor expenses related to real estate in the United States, but primarily this is it. And you see that I was spending about 28,000 pesos a month. which at the time was about 1,440 US dollars. Now, in the year and some change since this update I gave y'all, because I did a cost of living in 2021. I did one in 2022. I think that video from 2022 is linked in the description of this one. Okay, so in the time since I gave y'all this update, um, some interesting things have been happening with the value of the peso and the dollar in relationship to each other. Now, this is a breakdown. We are on the 25th day of December. We've got less than a week of 2023 left. And I think you can see the overall trend for 2023 is that the dollar is not worth what it used to be worth in pesos. Back in January, probably at the time that I did that update in August, we were at about 20 pesos to the dollar. That has been what it's been somewhere around there, sometimes getting up as high as 22 pesos to the dollar, or as low as 22 pesos to the dollar since I first moved here in 2017. You notice we were about at 19.5, and then you notice there was a precipitous dip. If you look in the summer, let me tell y'all how tough things were this past summer. This chart is actually, I think, being a little generous because there were days that even the mid-market rate was in the 15 range. It was like 15 point something. So as you see the value of the dollar drop against the peso or the value of the peso rise against the dollar, my expenses increased. And I didn't have to do anything different at all, but simply because of the conversion rate. Okay. Um, so you see that there was a little bit of a rally this fall. We got back in the 18 range. Yesterday, the mid-market rate was below 17. Today, it is back up at 17. And so this is something to consider when you are thinking about moving to another country that does not use the dollar or whatever the currency is in the country that you live in. This, I think, for most of us that live in Mexico, this has been a non-issue because the exchange rate has been fairly stable, at least pre-2020. The exchange rate had been fairly stable, but what we've seen over the last year has made things, we'll say, interesting, to say the least. Um, I tried to make it as big as I could, but I think you don't need to see the details of the numbers. You just need to see that graph going like that. And that tells you what we've been dealing with over here. So, oh, hold on. How do I make this one bigger? Maybe this. Ooh, maybe too big. Okay, so this is a comparison of what my expenses looked like in 2022 versus 2023. Now, I'll go ahead and spoil it for you. Last year, I was spending about 28,000, 29,000 pesos per month. This year, I'm spending about 33,000 pesos a month. Some things have gotten more expensive. For instance, my electricity has gone up. And I know y'all are like, but that electricity is super cheap compared to what we pay here. Electricity in Mexico is subsidized. And I don't think my usage has gone up. So I suspect they've either decreased the subsidy or they've raised the rates. So like my electricity went up, I think my water went up a little bit. Um, and you'll notice that like the price that I pay uh for pedicures, that price went up. So some prices went up, some prices still stayed the same. My Mexican cell still cost me 2,000 pesos a month for um, unlimited everything basically for 30 days. Um, my internet is still 509 pesos. I forget how many gigs upload, download I get, but that includes Netflix for one device in that price. That price has stayed the same. Surprisingly enough, the dog food has stayed the same. Um, and I guess that's about it. My rent did go up after 3 years of no rent increases that my landlords were fully entitled to because when you sign a rent contract here, it specifies either how much the rent will go up, they'll give you a dollar figure, or they'll give you a percentage figure. So I had been here for 3 years. They never raised my rent. This past August, they did. We negotiated and arrived at 1,000 peso increase. Um, the dog groomer increased because my dog goes to a different groomer now. The uh, what else? The other one, my barber increased. My barber price increased because one, I get my hair cut twice a month, and two, because uh, I don't go to a shop anymore. My barber comes to me. So I pay um, 450 pesos for my barber to come to my house whenever I need him to. And that is, if you're thinking, that's roughly like, no, that math is wrong. It says 26.45 there. That's how much a single haircut is. So double that. It's like 50 $52 a month to get my hair cut. That is a splurge. That I could get a haircut on the street for 50 pesos, but I spend 450 pesos because he comes to my house. So, like that's one of my splurges. So you see that I am spending more. But what's interesting, look at the dollar differences. Um, my my expenses have gone up significantly because of the change in the exchange rate between the US dollar and the Mexican peso. So what I spent for December, I spent about like 1,950 bucks in December. If at the time when the peso was the highest against the dollar or the dollar was the lowest against the peso, I was probably spending $2,500 a month just for these things because of that fluctuation. So that's made things very, very interesting this year. Thank you, Tracy. Merry Christmas to you. I appreciate that. Yes, you are right. The people in Atlanta do charge more for that for a haircut because I was in Atlanta for this time last year. I was in Atlanta. I needed to get my hair cut for New Year's Eve, and I got a recommendation, and that haircut was $40. So I realized that if you're comparing these prices to the US, this still seems like a bargain. But I want y'all to understand that, like some of these things are extravagant. Like what I pay to get my hair cut, that is a bit extravagant. I was taking salsa lessons last August. I'm not taking them now, so there's no comparison for that. I'm not taking Spanish classes either. Um, I've been busy. I've been in the streets. I've been a little bit of everywhere, so I haven't had time to do that. So you can see that it is more, so the things about like inflation and prices going up, That has changed. We saw some of that in 2022, where prices were over what they were in 2021. I feel like prices for the most point have stabilized. In 2022, like menus, they wouldn't give you the menu. They would write the number on a chalkboard, or there would be multiple like whiteouts on the menu because the price had gone up. I've not really seen price jumps like that this year, but the change in the exchange rate definitely has made an impact on my finances. Yes, my rent is under $1,000. My rent is also significantly more than I want to pay. I would rather be paying closer to $500, which in this climate is near impossible to find. When I came back in 2020, I couldn't find that in rent. And so my expectation, my desire may be unrealistic given the market situation, but here's the thing. My rent is 14,000 pesos, 2 bedroom, 2 bath, balcony, with washer connection in the apartment. Remember that the minimum wage in Mexico is 2,207 pesos per day. Per day. So if we bust out the calculator and we say that people work 6 days a week, so 207 times 20, here I am trying to do math in my head, and I shouldn't do that. All right, so that's 1,242 pesos a week times 4. That is about 5,000 pesos a month. 5,000 pesos time, let's say our current exchange rate is 17. That's $292 a month people are making. So even though my apartment seems very affordable by US standards, you can see how even at that price, uh, let's say it's a two income, what we think of like two people together, two incomes, uh, that's still not enough, which again is why so many people who live here, there are like multi-generational households with 5 6 adults in them because that's how you can afford to rent a place here. Hold on, I saw another question. I thought, Mm-mm-mm. Have you ever thought of purchasing in CDMX? Yes. When I moved here in 2017, it was a struggle to find an apartment. Shocker. It ended up taking me 2 months. And some of y'all who are like, who only know what's been on the YouTube channel, you're like, but hey, when you came in 2020, you only gave yourself a week. Yes, that was an anomaly. Normally, it takes multiple months to find an apartment here. But because it was taking so long, I did consider like maybe I should just buy something. And then we had the big earthquake on September 19th, 2017. And buildings collapsed, and people were talking about like how structural engineers needed to come out and inspect them. And as being somebody from Texas, that was not something I was familiar with, like thinking about in real estate purchasing. So that's one reason, like that's a whole realm of things I don't know anything about. But also the real estate market in Mexico, you can't get in and out of it the way you can in the US. It is not unusual at all for a apartment or a house to be on the market for a couple of years before it sells. Easy to buy here, it's very difficult to sell. And so I got commitment issues. I'm not trying to be locked to a place as much as I love this city. I still like knowing that if there is some place I would rather be, All I got to do is throw Mia in the bag and the sewing machine and the fabric in the suitcase, and we're out. So that's why I don't consider it. As time has gone on and my children have just been themselves, I realize that owning property here and when I die, my children are not going to do what needs to be done to hold on to that property. So it doesn't make sense for me to buy. Um, no, I'm trying to think. I did get a massage when I was in Oaxaca. But no, this year the massages didn't come through like they should, and that's one of the things that's going back on the board for 2024. I like to have massages twice a month, um, and so I've got to make that a priority again. It was not a priority this year, and my back has felt it. Um, have I noticed changes in food prices? Well, you gotta remember, I don't grocery shop like a normal person. I've seen minimal changes in food prices, but remember, I don't buy produce. When y'all were having like that spike in egg prices, we didn't have that here. Same thing, like, grapes didn't cost $10, but can I tell you what grapes cost? No, because I don't buy grapes. So I don't think so. The things that I typically buy have basically been the same price, more or less. Okay, will $500 give you a one bedroom or a studio? Okay, here is one of those places where the way things work other places does not work here. Now, I just explained to y'all, because things are expensive, people tend to live multi-generationally, multiple working adults in a household. Why would anybody build studio apartments, one bedrooms, when most people are living in, larger families? When you find, so there are one bedrooms here, there are studios, but they tend to be more expensive than a two bedroom. When my very first apartment in 2017, I paid 9,500 pesos for a two bedroom, one bath, furnished, including the refrigerator, which is not standard here, washer and dryer. Um, and I was looking for a one bedroom. There's no way in hell I was going to find a one bedroom for less than that. And that is still true now. There are probably more one bedrooms and studios, but they're building those with foreigners in mind because that's who shows up saying, I'm looking for a one bedroom. So if, at least in Mexico City, this is probably different in other parts of the country. Here, it's going to cost you more, and I'm always suspicious because I'm like, why does this exist? Are they targeting foreigners? So that reducing the size of the apartment might not necessarily reduce my cost. Okay. Thank you, Eric. What what had you decide on settling in Mexico City? Honestly, it was twofold. When I lived in Tegucigalpa, Honduras, it helped me gain clarity on what it was that I needed in a city. And there were two cities in Latin America that appeared to have that, Medellin, Colombia, and Mexico City, Mexico. I ended up coming here first, and it was love at first sight. But I wanted mass transit. I didn't want to have to drive. I wanted uh, moderate temperate weather. I wanted a sizable international airport. I needed a place that was Spanish speaking, and Mexico City has all of that going for it. Um, because what happens is a lot of people come here because they were homeowners in the US. They assume, because that's let's be real. That's what we're all told the goal is to own a home. So they think about, okay, I'm moving to Mexico. I need to buy something. I think buying, you need to think long and hard, and you need to rent for a while before you make that kind of commitment, because it could be, there are situations where people have never been able to sell. And that's so different than what we're used to in the US. Um, Grapes are 69 pesos. Now, Shonda, is that per kilo? Because that would be about 2 pounds for $7, $6. I don't know. I shouldn't be trusted to do math in my head. Okay. This is insane. This is insane. I mean, butter has never been cheap, but oh my gosh. Oh my God. Oh. Something to also remember, y'all. Think of Mexico City in the way that you think of London, that you think of Los Angeles, that you think of New York. It is a very expensive place to live, whether you are making pesos or whether you're making dollars. Um, I when I had that apartment for 9,500 pesos, I would still see people posting who lived in other parts of the country who had 3 and 4 bedroom houses in a gated community for what I was paying for a 2 bedroom, 1 bathroom in a working class neighborhood in Mexico City. So yeah. I can't make any kind of recommendation for Medellin. Um, Global Granny. I don't think she has a YouTube channel, but I know she has an Instagram. She is retired. She loves Colombia. I think she might have left Mexico City and that's where she is now. She would be somebody who could answer this question. If you're ever in the live chat, like on Stephanie Perry's channel, Anita is often there. She's often there on Rashida's chat. Her handle is Global Granny. Like I said, I think she has an Instagram. I would hit her up and ask her. Um, when I was in Querétaro, only thing I saw were buses. And buses are fine, but buses are like advanced level mass transit. I enjoy the ease of something like a subway or a metro bus or a trolley bus that has fixed stops, that the routes are published. Querétaro does not have anything like that. Although I'm thinking Puebla has metro bus, but I don't think Querétaro does. Um, so there are buses. All right. So 69 pesos for a kilo of grapes, and a kilo is a little bit more than 2 pounds. Let's see. Any other questions in here? All right, we got those. Um, I've said this before. For me, I can't live in a city that has less than 3 metro lines. If it's got less than that happening, that city is too small of a place for me. uh, and that's just, I know who I am and I know how I like to get around, and that's my thing. Um, this is not really related to our conversation, but I was in Vegas at the end of October. I know the US is expensive. I know that. And I know Vegas is extra expensive. I was still floored at the prices I was seeing there. $39 for a 5 ounce glass of wine, $13 for a slice of cake out of a vending machine. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I was appalled. I was appalled. and which is one of the reasons I flew in on Friday and left Sunday morning because it was too expensive. Does the Metro and CDMX run on time? Whose time? What time? There's just trains just come. Um, I don't think there's like a published time schedule, but like they just run. And the Metro runs from I think 5 a.m. till midnight. The Metro bus runs maybe 6 a.m. to 11 p.m. There is the midnight bus. There is a bus. It doesn't serve the entire city, but it serves like major places that runs like through the night. There are trolley bus routes that run 24 hours. It just depends. It just depends. All right, y'all. I think that's it for our final day of Vlogmas. Thank y'all for coming to hang out, to give me somebody to talk to so that I wasn't here all alone. I appreciate y'all coming to hang out with me. I appreciate the folks who watch the replay and let me know. Thank you to everybody. Like we hit our goal. We're at a little bit more than 20,000 subscribers to the channel, and 2023 is not over yet. Um, so thank y'all for that, and enjoy the rest of your holiday. And in theory, I should see y'all again Wednesday night at either 7 or 8 p.m. Eastern. Uh, I've not, because typically, if you're new here, you don't know this, but I normally go live on Wednesday evenings, somewhere between 7 and 8 p.m. Eastern. In theory, we should back to that. We should be back to that this Wednesday. Um, so that's when you should see me next. Thank y'all again for, I think y'all helped make Vlogmas a success. So thank y'all for that. Enjoy the rest of your day. Shonda, if I decide to get up and put on some clothes, I will come over there, but I don't know. I might stay in these pajamas all day. Bye, y'all.